In this video, I'm going to show you how to start building a graphic in Ross Xpression. All I've done so far is create a new project. And so all we see so far is just a blank main viewport here. So over on the right here in your object library, you have a few different options. These primitives here are different shapes. So if I wanted to make a quad, you can see there's a rectangle there. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. If I want to put in some text, just hit text. And you can see it opens a little font browser here. So we'll just go ahead and delete that. So if we wanted to make a basic lower third, we would start by adding a quad. And then in the materials tab, we'll go ahead and give it a color. So you can right click, go to new material. And you could change the color here. We'll just do a basic blue. And then you see it's still this just generic checkerboard pattern. So you want to make sure it's highlighted in the object manager. And then you can either right click and hit apply, or you can double click. Now we have a blue rectangle. So to resize it, if you go up here, you have your transform tools. So there's move, rotation, scale, pivot point. So we want scale. And now you can change the size. So we'll just make it so it fills the entire frame lengthwise. We'll go back to move. We'll move it down. And now we'll add some text. So we'll just do test text. And same thing, we'll move it into position. So you can see it's a little too small. So if we want to change that, you can go to Scene Fonts. You can change your font size. Maybe like that. And so one thing that's kind of nice, you can see this red bounding box here. So let's say we didn't want the text to get any longer than that. You can see if I add letters here, it'll just keep going forever. So if we want to fix it so it only stays to this length, if you go to tabs and options, and you, in this auto squeeze section, do set to current, so that'll set it to whatever this red box is in terms of size. Set to current, enabled. So now whatever I type in here, when it reaches this point, it'll squeeze it. But anything less than that, it'll stay the full size. So I'm just going to get rid of these two real quick and show you one other way to do this. So maybe you're more comfortable working in Photoshop, designing graphics that way. So if you build your elements in Photoshop, what you would do is build them, save them out individually, and then we can bring them in as quads, which may seem kind of strange. So you just do quad. And then we want to give it a material. You don't need to change the size or anything. So what will happen is when we apply the material that's an image, it will resize the quad based on the size of the image. So we'll go to materials, go to new. And in this little drop down here, I want to give it a texture. And so now we're going to navigate to our texture, which is going to be this in my case. Hit OK. And same thing, it's highlighted. We're going to double click. And there you go. So you see, I built this previously in Photoshop and it just applied the texture to the quad. We're going to do one more thing here. So maybe I want to build a little over-the-shoulder graphic up here. So I'm going to make a quad. And let's say I want it to be 480 by 480. So it's a square. But I don't want it to resize this quad because I want it to stay to the square size. So I'll hit this check mark and we can leave it at best fit. We might tweak it. We'll see what happens. So we'll go to materials. We'll find our image, material. Same thing, we're going to get a texture. And we'll use this texture right here. I'll use this one. Hit OK. Okay. We'll apply. And so you could see it didn't change the size of the quad that we added, but it also has a little bit of a distortion here on the edges. So we're going to go back to the quad menu, and under mode, we're going to change it to best fit cropped. And there you go. So what it does is it just fits your image to this window. So that's perfect if you're starting to build some over-the-shoulder graphics. So those are the basics when you get started building graphics in Xpression. I highly encourage you to ask one of us to sit down and have some time to learn how to build them. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.